Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Medtech, the premier podcast for the medical device and diagnostic industry. My name is Omar Ford, and I am the host of this episode of Let's Talk Medtech. I'm also editor-in-chief of MDDI, an online publication owned by Informa that covers the medical device and diagnostic industry. On this episode of Let's Talk MedTech, we're going to be speaking with James Clemmer. He is the president and CEO of AngioDynamics. It's going to be an amazing conversation, and we're going to talk about how AngioDynamics turned the corner and went with a totally different start. They didn't stay with what they knew. They kind of branched out and made a difficult decision to turn away from something that they were experts on, but just didn't work anymore. This is an incredible conversation for anyone in the medtech industry, for anyone who is trying to find the next frontier, who's trying to do something different or go in a different direction. James really lays out the new direction of the company, everything that they did, and how successful it is, and how it's paying off. So I can't wait for you to hear this episode. I can't wait for you to hear this conversation. So without further ado, let's talk MedTech with AngioDynamics President and CEO, James Clemmer. Well, hello, Jim, and welcome to Let's Talk MedTech. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for the opportunity today.
Oh, anytime, anytime. I really want to jump into AngioDynamics initiatives and talk about this most recent earnings quarter, but let's back it up a little bit. I really want to start it off with talking about your career and how you became interested in healthcare and medtech.
Well, it's funny. Thank you for the opportunity. I was fortunate. I was a sales and marketing major when I went to school, college. I started my career in field sales, and I wanted to get into the medical industry. And I was able to join a company in 1989, my first career job in the Boston area as a sales professional. And I learned the industry from the customer first. So I learned it from the customer, which helps me now, learning what they're interested in, what their pressures are, what they're focused on for patient care. So I worked for many years as a sales rep, then a manager. I worked my way up, did different things. I joined Tyco Healthcare in the 2000s, and then Tyco spun Tyco Healthcare and formed Covidien in 2007. Yeah. Sure, and many folks know Covidien. So I was asked to run one of the two operating companies for Covidien, essentially up until 2015 when Medtronic acquired Covidien. And I stepped aside and took a timeout. Actually did a brief job in academia for a while, and then AngioDynamics reached out and asked me if I'd be interested in joining our company, and I did, and I'm excited to be here today.
Well, you just took me back what you just said, Tyco, and those names, and I remember early 2000s. I remember before the Covidien Medtronic merger, just how the medtech landscape looked. You had all of these different companies, these smaller companies and medium-sized companies out there. And it's just amazing how many acquisitions there have been and how many combinations. So yeah, that name really, really took me back. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been lucky because I got to work. I started with a private company, kind of smaller, mid-sized private company. Then I worked for a really large public company, obviously. And then at Covidien, we spun or independent. And then here I am today at a smaller or mid-sized public. So I've kind of worked public and private, different sizes, Omar. I've really had the blessing of seeing this industry from different kind of views.
Yeah. Wow, what an amazing story. Let's talk now a little bit about AngioDynamics. And for the uninitiated, the people, the audience that might not know about the company, there's some that probably don't. We have new listeners all the time. Can you talk about some of the markets and spaces that AngioDynamics operates in? Just give an overview. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So the company was founded nearly 40 years ago. And our primary call point and customer was the interventional radiologist. Sure. And the company did a really good job building a trusted legacy with providing really important tools to that IR community. Over time, I think the company then diversified its product portfolio, but became less focused on true patient care and technology and innovation. So that's really why I was asked to join the company, kind of refocus us on where we should be, not just where we were. But AngioDynamics does have a really large and proud legacy of how we've called upon and served that community. Now we serve a few more communities. Our company's diversified its product portfolio. We now serve interventional radiology as well as oncology, cardiology, vascular surgery. So we're really a little more targeted to different specialties.
What was the decision? Why was that? Let me rephrase that. What went into that thinking to move into these different segments or these adjacent segments? What was kind of the mindset there?
So we did a job here in 2019. We really looked at our entire portfolio,
Sure.
and it took a strategic view of not just where we were, where we are, but where we should be, and decided we had a couple of things that were really special and unique, but required more work from us, whether it's R&D development on the products itself or the clinical work necessary to prove safety and efficacy, to collect more data around our products, or to expand the geographic approvals to get us into more markets around the globe. So we decided in 2019, Omar, to divest our largest single business at the time, but it had become kind of commoditized and less special. And we weren't able to compete with the really large players in the space on that scale. So we did that in 2019. We forged a strategy saying that we really wanted to be a cardiovascular company and an oncology company built on three different disease states, utilizing opportunities that we had either in our portfolio or were building out. So that's really what happened for us, is when we kind of put the stake in the ground to say our company was going to change based on our portfolio changes because we wanted to serve a changing need in the marketplace.
And spinning out that larger, spinning out that unit, was that hard for you? I know I often think of whenever, I have to let something go or just move on from a certain thing, that it's very difficult. You always want to hold on to it. But how was that process for you, just from a leadership position?
It was interesting being that I was still kind of the new guy on campus.
Yeah.
I could take what I called a dispassionate view towards the portfolio. And I talked to others about the need for us to be dispassionate, because it's easy to say, well, wait a minute, this is part of our legacy and history. And it is. But is it part of our future? Is it where we should be, not where we were? So I was able to take that viewpoint, convince others that was how we had to treat our portfolio. And we did. And there's always folks that said, hey, look, that was part of the journey we were on. I want to go with that. And they did. We had some good folks go with us to the company that acquired that asset, and they're doing well today. But we needed to move on. And that's why you need to take what I call the dispassionate approach towards where the company should be, not really where you were.
Awesome. Interesting. Well, let's dive right now into the most recent earnings quarter. Want to just talk about the particular highlights that you can share from that. Were you pleasantly surprised? Were you pleased? Just give an overview what you saw from the most recent quarter. Yep.
Yeah, we were pleased to report those results, not just for the quarter, but we have an odd fiscal year. So it was our Q4 as well for FY25. I think we're the only company that I know of that starts its year on June 1 each year. I've not found somebody else that has the courage that we have to do that. So it was great, Omar, but it was well received, and our company did a terrific job. So there were financial highlights within the year. Our revenue growth was exactly what we would hope or more. In both our medical device businesses that compete in slower growing markets. It's more of our legacy products. That team did a terrific job during the course of the year. Then in our future, our Medtech products, we really exceeded our expectations actually in all three of the categories there. So the team did a great job. Then throughout that process, we had good gross margin growth during the year. We were really, really good on our investments and our expenses, and we dropped operating profit through the P&L kind of 1 year ahead of schedule. So we've been in this kind of turnaround period. We knew we were going to invest forward into the business, but 2025 was the year we could actually then keep those investments, but break through, create positive EBITDA for our investors to see we could do that. And we're looking forward to 2026. We'll continue that good revenue growth. We'll drop more profit to the bottom line, and we'll go cash flow positive as well. So we think for investors, they'll really see a company that's very different than how we looked 5 years ago. But overall, Omar, financials were terrific for our company. But beyond that, what our teams did to facilitate our products being utilized around the globe, to treat more and more patients in need of care that we could deliver. Our teams did a lot to hit the milestones necessary to get the products utilized safely and effectively, and to get them on label or certified to be approved in different locations around the world, which can be very difficult, as you know, in the medical device industry. There are high hurdles that exist and should exist. to make sure products can be safe and effective. And our team did a really, really good job getting those in use.
One of the products that I want to talk about is, and forgive me if I mispronounce it. I'm from
Mhm.
the South. I have an accent, but Arion. Is
Mhm.
that how you pronounce it? Is it
You did.
Orion or
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Arion? Yeah. Could you talk a little bit about that? I was looking through some of the
Mhm.
earnings notes from this, and I saw that Arion came up a couple of times. Could you describe the technology and then talk a little bit about how it performed for the quarter?
Yeah, I can. I'm really excited to tell the story. So,
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier we have a cardiovascular focus. So, what we decided in 2019, we want to be a cardiovascular company that can help treat venous disease, veins, or arterial disease. In this case, peripheral arterial disease or PAD. So, we had a pathway in 2019 to treat venous disease with our AngioVac product and our soon to be developed AlphaVac, but we hadn't had an arterial product. We had watched the space. Some of us knew the space from our past lives. And we
Mm,
came across this technology from a company called Eximo Medical, which used a laser based approach towards delivering energy through catheters into the artery to break up the calcium and the plaque that can clog those arteries and create PAD, which is a
mm.
terribly debilitating disease. Over 10 million people in the US can be affected with PAD every year, and over 150,000 limbs are lost to
Wow.
PAD each year. So it's a really, really tragic disease. So we thought we could change it. We thought Eximo Medical had a great, unique device. So we bought the company. And a year later, we launched the product during the pandemic. Really difficult time for a small company like us to launch a product when our customers were saying, "Hey guys, stand down. We've got to take care of patients here. We can't really look at new technologies." So it was a tough time to launch it, Omar, but our team did a great job. The product is unique and it delivers what we thought it would do. The laser energy breaks up the calcium and the plaque in the artery, and we're able to treat those patients and give our doctors confidence in the safety and efficacy that although we're delivering high levels of energy to break up the calcium and the plaque, it's safe on the vessel wall, which is really, really important to caregivers and the patients. So, Omar, we launched that product in September of 2020. And the
Mhm.
results we just reported had over $55 million of revenue in only our fourth year. So
Wow.
we've really taken a lot of market share from five of the largest companies in our industry, right? Really good large companies that are very good at what they do. But it shows what a small company like ours can do when you
Mhm.
have a great product, you build a great team around it, clinical
Mhm.
specialists who help our customers train them, our selling and marketing team to get our messaging out there, and then the other folks that we needed to do R&D development to launch new iterations of that product. So, Omar, we think the Arion is a good kind of conduit to what AngioDynamics can do in the future as well, launching a product that cures a need for patient care and helps our company grow.
Yeah, I think you have to go back to another point too. You launched this product during a difficult time. I remember early pandemic, and I remember just just the headwinds that a lot of companies faced. And we won't say any names, but a lot of the larger strategics struggled. You looked at their earnings, and they really struggled with proven portfolios because of the disruption that the pandemic caused, and to see Ariane being launched around that time and to be steady and to have that success, I think that speaks a lot to not only the company's fortitude, but also just the leadership and the guidance that you were able to give to get that not only across the finish line, but into the hands of physicians and to treat patients. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, I'm really proud of our company. We almost had to prove it to ourselves. We really believed what we could be. When you do a
Yeah.
transformation, it's easy to say you're going to do it, but to
Mhm.
actually do it. Again, when we sold that business in 2019, that was real revenue going and real profit, and we
Mhm.
took a risk.
Mhm.
The XMO company we bought had zero revenue. It had a great product, but no one ever bought one. So we
Mhm.
had to take a risk here. We believed in what we could do. So it's really, really empowering when you can see your people deliver. We put new people into new roles. We knew they could thrive, and they did. And they brought in new other people. We actually have attracted a lot of new people to join our company because they've watched what Orion can do and our commitment to the patient care that we deliver through Orion. So we've got some really, really good people that work here now. So it's really been a fun journey for us.
I want to transition now and talk a little bit about another product that you have, and want to talk a little bit about the nano knife and just get a little bit more context around it and how it performed. And yeah, this is a technology that I think is making a real breakthrough as well.
We agree. NanoKnife has a history here at
Yeah.
AngioDynamics. What NanoKnife is, it's an ablation tool to ablate tumors. It
Yes.
uses energy that we deliver. So it's a non-thermal approach, meaning it doesn't use heat or cold. No thermal energy is used to freeze or to burn the tissue. But energy is delivered through our probes. Electricity, small electrical field is created around the tumor, which lets that tumor die naturally, actually, within the body. And we don't damage surrounding tissue or vascular structure that supports the organ you're treating. So NanoKnife is an amazing product. The challenge we've had for years is we've had an FDA approval since 2012 to market the product with just a soft tissue indication, no specific organs that we could treat. So the company has struggled and was challenged for a couple of years to try to get an organ specific code. So when I arrived and others, we decided to focus our energy in those spaces. The first area that we thought we could treat was folks with stage 3 pancreatic cancer, which is a really, really difficult treatment. There's no real standard of care today for those people, but we thought our product could help there. So we launched a study called Direct 4 years ago. And we're actually getting ready now to launch the results of the Direct study soon so people can see how our product works in that difficult disease. But along the way, the FDA actually came out with a guidance document and a pathway for products like NanoKnife to become enabled to treat men with intermediate risk prostate cancer, which is a really large market.
Sure.
And men today need an alternative treatment if you have intermediate risk prostate cancer. Today, some men are asked that they're told their prostate cancer isn't moving that rapidly. So they take a watchful waiting approach to monitor the disease in their bodies. Then men on the aggressive schedule are told that, hey, we've got to get this out of your body. We're going to take your prostate out. And unfortunately, with that becomes side effects of incontinence and impotence that affect many men who have that treatment. Well, in the middle, there's about 40% of the men diagnosed annually. Here in the US, 300,000 men are told annually they have some level of prostate cancer. We think about 40% of the men that we can help with NanoKnife. And NanoKnife, again, can deliver energy to the tissue, not going to harm the other structure around the tissue, hopefully treat that tumor and give men a chance to have that recovery period, have their prostate treated safely, and not have those side effects of incontinence and impotence. We proved that in our PRESERVE study. And the PRESERVE study had really, really favorable outcomes. We presented that data to the FDA last year, and they gave us an approval in December. For the first time, we can now market the product and educate people around this product. So we're really excited, Omar, to become a new part of what we think will be a treatment protocol over time, become a standard of care, we believe, and give men this option, and also give the urology community a new treatment option they can offer to men today. So we're really excited about this. We think it'll help our company grow as well. Today, we're early now, only 6 or 7 months into the approval phase. So we're doing the early level education, talking to the urology community about our unique device, doing some awareness campaigns. So men can go online now and Google, find out what they've just learned. If they've been unfortunately told they have intermediate risk prostate cancer, they can learn about our device and learn about why it's different. Maybe talk to a caregiver to see if we're a good option for them. But we're really excited. Our healthcare economics team did a really good job working to get us a CPT-1 code that'll kick in and become effective January 1 of 2026. So we're excited. We'll look at the landscape, Omar, not that far into the future. Even next calendar year, we're going to have a device that's approved. We're going to have a CPT-1 code that get reimbursement for caregivers who deliver care, and hopefully men who will become aware and educated about this new device and have a new treatment option. So we think NanoKnife can be a really, really important product for men in the healthcare community and for our company to grow over time.
Well, I like what you said. You talked about the holy trinity, I'd say, of a successful medical device. You've got the approval, you've got reimbursement, and you've got the education piece. I think that's the holy trinity. You need that to be successful. And I've talked to a lot of startups, and I've talked to a lot of companies or executives coming from the tech side, and they only have two of those. There's no mention of reimbursement. Sometimes they only have one. They just think that it's the approval. They've
Yeah.
crossed the finish line. But I think that's what makes a successful device. And I think that's what you guys excel at. You look at the product holistically.
You're right. You understand this market really well.
Yeah.
I talk a lot internally, and our teams talk about market access. It's amazing to get a device like NanoKnife or like AlphaVac or like Arion that work really well. But as you said, that's only one part of the equation. You've got to prove that you developed something that's special and unique. You got to then show it's safe and effective. And as you said, prove it then, get the regulatory bodies to let you into the marketplace. And that takes an approval cycle that proves it's safe and effective. And then the reimbursement, aligning all those things together, as you said, that holy trinity is not easy to do. Yes. And many stumble and fall in that process. And we understand that. There's a lot of risk there. And this industry is really capital intensive because it requires a lot of capital that you have to invest forward, not just in the R&D development cycle, but in those other stages of approval to gain market access. So, Omar, this industry, as you know, can be challenging and can be hard, but when you get it right and can clear those, you can become a really, really important part of the care continuum to treat patients around the globe that need access to care and help your company grow and thrive as well.
Exactly. Well, want to kind of close things out with this and ask you about your thoughts looking into the next, let's do 2 years for AngioDynamics. What do you see? What are some of the goals? What are some of the things that you can tease to? Some of the plans that you can kind of reveal or shed some light on? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Thank you for the opportunity. We're going to do what we've said we do. We took the courage to change this company about 5 years ago to, like I said earlier, divest some things that were stable, good businesses, but not right for us, and invested forward into these three disease states to treat: PAD, PE, pulmonary embolism, and then solid tumor cancers. And we really believe we're in spaces that matter. These are large total addressable markets. The markets are growing rapidly, but there's also really, really good companies in these spaces as well. So we're going to have some good competitors to work with. We have good customers to talk about our products, to educate and inform about our products, people who want to give care around the globe. So we think we're going to be an important part of that continuum over time. And we think we're already looked at differently. The respect that we've gained in the community by us investing forward, not just into our products, but into the data collection and the proof that they're safe and effective. So Omar, 2 years from today, I hope that AngioDynamics is a company that'll be larger, faster growing, and be utilizing what we've done to give care options around the world. Our company will have more opportunity, not just for patients to be treated, but for our employees, people who want to join our company and do more. Maybe do a pathway like I've done, start off as a field sales rep, serving your customer. Maybe learn around our business, learn the process like I've done in others. Maybe run a company like ours one day. So we'll create opportunity at the patient caregiver level, here at the company level for others. And again, in an industry that I've come to love, I'm proud of. You look at how, the folks that the life expectancy of people today, we're going to live longer than our parents did, right? Our kids will live longer than us. Not just longer lives, but healthier lives. Quality of life has improved. So I'm proud to have served in this community for years, where Med Device really deserves credit for helping that happen. So it's an area that we're proud to be a part of, Omar. And I think our company will be an important part of that for years to come.
This has been an amazing conversation. Jim, thanks for coming on to Let's Talk Medtech.
Thank you very much.
That's it for this episode of Let's Talk Medtech. Thanks again to our guest, James Clemmer, President and CEO of AngioDynamics. For more information on the medtech industry or more news on the medtech industry and content, please be sure to check us out at mddionline.com. That's mddionline.com. Finally, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the Let's Talk MedTech podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast.